What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. This is serious. Wow, what the
fuck? What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on YouTube shit. Hey man, say man, we are lit through the cheese man. Turn. Today, 2 motherfucking day, straight hood and outside. Pig crib in the gang. Straight hood and outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia do your thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day to be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down. Always fight back. Never let somebody tell you who you are. But also never put yourself in a position you don't belong. Stay humble. Let's get on the revolution on this movement. Coming to the Black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. Hey, we out here, man. We gonna continue to fight. Alright, boom. Today, 2 motherfucking day, straight hood and outside. Big crib in the gang. Outside shit. Okay, man. So Jay-Z, man. That boy Jay, man. Okay, man. That boy Hove. Okay, man. So y'all know he had claims, about this female. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly, who went to one of their parties when they was in 2000. I guess she was young, and she made up some story about how Jay-Z and Diddy was with them. Now, look at this shit, man. Tell me why Buzbee, his lawyer, done capped out. He done astronomically capped the fuck out. This nigga this white dude done brought this claim victim, who's a Jane Doe, who didn't want her identity known. She done made up a whole motherfucking story that he didn't even get involved. He didn't even look to see her back view of what she was saying. He just brought a random victim in who said that Jay-Z did some shit and put her on the stand. So now, which is crazy, tell me why they done went to court and the whole claim done got dropped. The whole claim of what the victim was trying to say done got dropped. Y'all don't understand how big this is for even Diddy, because he the same person who trying to put Diddy shit on him. If you just got random people saying anything, God know what, just to say, to get some bread, and he trying to use this as a motherfucking, as a, hey, if you don't tell me, I'm gonna whoop the whoop. Yeah, you have to pay me. Nigga, this is crazy because it's gonna help so many more black people out to show that these lawyers and these white people be making up motherfucking lies to get business owners and black people out the paint. And maybe not even just black people in general, just to get their money on. So we got the whole breakdown of what happened. Now Jay-Z finna sue them. So it's getting crazy. Let's get into it. All right, man. Let's see what's happening to Jay-Z, gang. Hey, man. There's some weird shit going around in the industry, gang.
Two of hip-hop's most powerful figures, Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs, are currently facing serious legal issues. A new civil lawsuit has brought to light events allegedly taking place in 2000, shaking the music world. The lawsuit accuses the famous music moguls of serious allegations involving a minor at the time. The incident is said to have occurred during a luxurious after-party following the MTV Video Music Awards in New York City. What intensifies these shocking allegations is the recent release of video footage that allegedly links Jay-Z and Diddy to the event. This new evidence has deepened the investigation.
And the shit don't even make sense, though.
Most influential figures in the midst of a serious crisis. 50 Cent speaks out. What will be the impact on Jay-Z's family? As the lawsuit came to light, the music world immediately felt the ripple effects.
She got caught lying like
Notably,
3-4 times.
Famous rapper 50 Cent couldn't remain silent about these allegations and made some eye-opening comments on social media. Speaking about the potential impact on Jay-Z's family, 50 Cent suggested that the ongoing legal battle could cast a dark shadow on Beyonce and their children as well.
And she's
is very... She's got enough on her plate. After everything that happened with the election and everything that's happening right now, I'm not going to dump on that woman. She got better fish to fry. What I will say is that her husband, she knows exactly who he is.
Yeah.
She knows. She knows.
The allegations quickly spread across social media, sparking a large debate about how this will affect Jay-Z's career and personal life. While some argue that the accusations may be baseless, others emphasize the need to take such claims seriously.
What if I told you there was a travel group company that makes it easy?
Attorney Tony Buzbee makes shocking statements. On December 9th, celebrity attorney Tony Buzbee filed a lawsuit based on the testimony of the victim, referred to as Jane Doe. The legal documents show that Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter, is portrayed
Why they put it as Jane Doe, but she trying to take a nigga down?
Details included in the claims that only someone from the inside could know. The documents suggest that Jay-Z and Diddy were not acting alone during the event, but that no one intervened at the time. This has once again brought the discussion of the culture of silence in the music industry to the forefront, as similar incidents have occurred in the past. The long-standing friendship between Jay-Z and Diddy raises questions. One striking detail in the case is the long-standing friendship between Jay-Z and Diddy. The two have collaborated on numerous projects since the late 90s, sharing stages and supporting each other in the business world. However, the lawsuit suggests that Jay-Z was not merely a business associate, but an active part of Diddy's lifestyle. The lawsuit claims that Jay-Z wasn't just a witness, but was directly involved in the events. Now, as the music world waits to uncover the truth,
all at the same time they come out, the information come out all at the same time,
is expected to shape the legal proceedings in ways yet to be fully understood. At this point, neither Jay-Z nor Diddy have made any public statements regarding the matter. However, it's clear that the legal battle is intensifying, and new developments are likely to emerge in the coming days. The most eagerly awaited aspect is how the newly released video footage will affect the investigation. Both the public and the music industry are now closely watching how this case will unfold. There are discussions about how the trajectory of this high-profile lawsuit could change in the upcoming weeks. Will this event become a turning point for two of the biggest names in music, or will the allegations be disproven? All eyes are on the new details that will emerge in the coming days. Jay-Z's counterattack, allegations of harassment, and legal warfare. The ongoing legal battle has taken a dramatic turn as Jay-Z, also known as Sean Carter, faces a wave of shocking allegations, not just for the events that occurred at the infamous 2000 MTV Video Music Awards afterparty, but also for his alleged efforts to intimidate and discredit those involved in the lawsuit. In a newly amended version of the complaint, attorney Tony Buzbee claims that Jay-Z launched an aggressive campaign of harassment against him, his legal team, and their families in an attempt to silence those seeking justice. According to Buzbee's filing, Jay-Z took extreme
just splashed out. He didn't give a fuck.
People involved in the case, going so far as to create a conspiracy of harassment.
He didn't even know all the details of the victim.
Began after Buzbee reached out to Jay-Z to mediate a resolution to the lawsuit. Instead of engaging in peaceful negotiation, Jay-Z allegedly responded with a baseless lawsuit of his own and a sustained effort to intimidate the plaintiff's legal team. The allegations in the amended complaint paint a disturbing picture of how Jay-Z allegedly sought to undermine the case by targeting those who were involved, including their families, employees, and associates. In response to these grave accusations, Jay-Z has firmly denied all claims made against him, labeling the lawsuit as a complete fabrication. He has vowed to take legal action against anyone who continues to spread these allegations, calling it a money grab designed to damage his reputation. However, reports have emerged suggesting that Jay-Z might have filed his own anonymous lawsuit against Buzbee and the plaintiff, accusing them of extortion and infliction of emotional distress. This legal standoff has brought renewed focus on the involvement of another prominent figure in the case, Sean Diddy Combs. According to the lawsuit, both Jay-Z and Diddy were allegedly involved in the same controversial 2000 afterparty, with the complaint suggesting that video footage might surface linking Jay-Z to the alleged events. The victim, identified as Jane Doe, was reportedly a minor at the time of the alleged incident, and the lawsuit accuses both moguls of engaging in disturbing behavior, with bystanders witnessing the events without intervening. Diddy's past and its role in the legal drama. The allegations against Diddy, which have resurfaced as part of this legal battle, are not new. If you've recently been injured in a car accident that wasn't your fault... Reports of a troubling pattern of abuse at Diddy's parties, with guests reportedly turning a blind eye to the disturbing events happening around them. Even more chilling are claims that some parents knowingly allowed their underage children to attend these parties in exchange for financial compensation. These claims raise serious questions about the culture surrounding these gatherings, the people involved, and the long-term impact on the victims. As the case progresses, attention is squarely on Jay-Z, Diddy, and their legal teams. With many wondering what the next chapter will bring, the situation remains a legal and public spectacle. The case could have significant implications not just for Jay-Z and Diddy, but also for the broader culture within the entertainment industry. What's next for Jay-Z and Diddy? The legal battle between Jay-Z, Diddy, and the plaintiff is still in its early stages, but it has already become one of the most high-profile cases in the entertainment industry. As more evidence surfaces, including potentially explosive video footage, the stakes are higher than ever for the hip-hop moguls. The public is left to wonder whether these shocking allegations will lead to a major shift in the careers of Jay-Z and Diddy, or if the case will eventually be dismissed as unfounded. With Jay-Z continuing his counterattack and Diddy's past actions under scrutiny, the case is poised to continue to captivate public attention in the coming months. The final outcome remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. The stakes have never been higher for these two iconic figures in hip-hop. Legal standoff. Jay-Z fires back. As the case continues to unfold, the lawsuit was refiled this past Sunday, with the once anonymous male celebrity now being identified as Jay-Z. The rap mogul's response has been nothing short of explosive. Unlike many other high-profile individuals who often issue blanket denials in such lawsuits, Jay-Z has chosen to take a far more aggressive approach. Not only has he denied the accusations outright, but he has also directly targeted Buzbee in a fiery statement. Jay-Z claimed that his lawyer had received a blackmail attempt from Tony Buzbee, leading him to want to expose Buzbee in a public manner. I will not give you one red penny, Jay-Z said in a statement, further criticizing Buzbee for his alleged fraudulent actions. Jay-Z went on a call and to question Buzbee's credentials, claiming that Buzbee had a history of theatrical tactics and even accused him of dishonesty. He also challenged Buzbee's honor, stating that Marines, who are known for their valor, would not resort to such behavior. Jay-Z's statement reflects the growing tension between the two parties as they engage in an all-out legal war.
Jay-Z was ready to go, hey,
denies
bang nail teeth and claw,
Tony
nigga.
Buzbee, for his part, has not backed down. Following Jay-Z's comments, Buzbee took to Twitter to respond.
Once he paid that money on, it was over.
No one has made any threats, Buzbee tweeted, calling Jay-Z's claims bogus and laughable. He went on to explain that their law firm had simply sent a standard demand letter on behalf of a woman who claims Jay-Z assaulted her. According to Buzbee, this approach was common in legal cases of this nature, as their client had preferred to seek a resolution without filing a full-blown lawsuit. Buzbee's statement also took aim at Jay-Z's attempts to discredit him, accusing Jay-Z of trying to deflect attention from the allegations by focusing public attention on him instead. Buzbee claimed that Jay-Z's actions were part of a coordinated effort to distract from the serious accusations being made against him. The lawyer further claimed that the campaign had extended to harassment against his family and colleagues, as well as offers made to former clients to sue him, which he called illegal. Despite the mounting pressure, Buzbee remained resolute, stating that they would address these issues with the court when the time came. We will not be bullied or intimidated, he emphasized, reaffirming that they would continue to fight for their client and ensure that the truth was heard in court. Public reactions. 50 Cent weighs in. The case has captured widespread public attention, with many celebrities offering their opinions on the situation. One such individual is rapper 50 Cent, who has been vocal about his thoughts on Jay-Z's involvement. 50 Cent took to social media to express his concerns, calling Jay-Z dangerous and highlighting how unsettling the allegations were, especially considering that Jay-Z has a daughter who is the same age as the alleged victim. In a provocative post, 50 Cent shared a video on Instagram that humorously depicted Jay-Z being taken into custody, further fueling the media frenzy surrounding the case. While this situation may have started as a legal dispute between two prominent figures, it has quickly morphed into something much larger, with the public weighing in and the media giving it extensive coverage. The involvement of high-profile individuals like 50 Cent has added a layer of complexity as fans and commentators eagerly weigh in on the case, adding fuel to the fire. The bigger picture, a history of allegations. The allegations against Jay-Z are not entirely new. Over the years, other individuals, including Jaguar Wright and Gene Deal, have been outspoken about their claims of abusive behavior by Jay-Z. Both have suggested that Jay-Z is even more calculating and manipulative than Diddy, arguing that while Diddy may have made mistakes,
Jay-Z ruled with an
Jay-Z
iron
is
foot.
far more adept at handling the darker side of the industry. They've also claimed that Jay-Z is unafraid to retaliate against those who speak out against him, drawing comparisons to his infamous rivalry with Diddy in the early 2000s. In one particularly revealing instance, Gene Deal recounted how Diddy harbored intense animosity toward Jay-Z in the past, allegedly going as far as encouraging other artists to join him in attacking Jay-Z. This historical context only adds to the intrigue surrounding the case, as observers wonder how much of the past rivalry between Diddy and Jay-Z might influence their actions in the current legal battle. Early encounters. Jay-Z and Diddy's complex relationship. Taking us back to the early 2000s, I remember attending a Knicks game with Ashton Kutcher and Diddy when we had the chance to meet Jay-Z. At that point, I had some respect for his music, even though I wasn't exactly a fan. But what really stood out to me that day wasn't his music. It was the dynamic between Diddy and Jay-Z. Both of them seemed at ease with each other, laughing and joking around, talking about something that appeared to be private. It was clear there was a deeper connection between them that went beyond their public personas. Over the years, it became apparent that Diddy was already positioned as a leader in the industry, with Jay-Z being carefully groomed to eventually take that place. The music world had given Diddy his moment, but Jay-Z was waiting in the wings, preparing for his turn. Jaguar Wright's take: Jay-Z and Diddy's hidden collaboration. Jaguar Wright, an outspoken critic of Jay-Z, has often shared her views on his character. She didn't just see Jay-Z as a bad person. She believed that he and Diddy were involved in far more than just professional collaboration. Wright has suggested that their relationship extended far beyond public feuds or competition. Instead, the two men, who appear to be rivals in the public eye, were actually working together behind the scenes, collaborating and covering up each other's secrets for years. Wright went on to elaborate, suggesting that Jay-Z had a complicated and troubling past, including a family incident that seemed to have been kept quiet for
Jaguar
years.
Wright really
She
came
spoke of a
through,
time
let the
when
floodgates
Jay-Z
loose.
allegedly shot his brother at the
Y'all see how that
request of
shit
the
happened,
to
man?
protect a family secret, which was supposedly about to be exposed to the public. The fact that Jay-Z managed to avoid any legal consequences while others involved faced punishment raised serious questions about his power and influence. In addition to the troubling allegations about his personal life, Wright also suggested that Jay-Z had been cooperating with government authorities for years. She insinuated that Jay-Z had been making deals with law enforcement and federal agencies, which raised even more questions about his business dealings. Wright's allegations were made even more sinister when she pointed out the suspicious background of the CEO of Jay-Z's record label, Roc Nation, who allegedly had connections to federal informants. Such claims, though unproven, painted a picture of a man who may have been involved in far darker dealings than anyone had realized. The idea that Jay-Z's success might be linked to shady business practices and covert operations was a narrative that many people, including Wright, were now starting to believe. The legal storm.
Paramount Plus has a bloody Valentine's Day treat for you.
Lawsuit and the beginning of something bigger. The recently refiled lawsuit against Jay-Z is just the tip of the iceberg. According to Wright, this case is far from over and will likely lead to more lawsuits in the future. At least 3 victims have already come forward, revealing their own painful experiences, and these brave individuals were inspired by others who had shared their stories of abuse. For Wright, who has her own personal history of alleged mistreatment at the hands of Jay-Z, this case is about much more than seeking justice for herself. It represents a larger movement aimed at holding powerful figures accountable for their actions and bringing these long-hidden secrets to light. Wright believes that more victims will come forward, and this could ultimately lead to significant legal consequences for Jay-Z. As the case continues to unfold, there is a growing sense that the testimonies of these victims could be the key to securing a conviction. Even high-profile legal experts, including Johnny Depp's attorney, have weighed in on the case, suggesting that if the victims can provide consistent, detailed, and credible testimonies, Jay-Z could face serious legal repercussions. However, the complexity of the case lies in the fact that many of the allegations date back several years. The challenge now is whether more witnesses will come forward to provide additional testimony that supports the victims' claims. One potential witness, a woman who could play a pivotal role in the case, may hold the key to tipping the scales in favor of the victims. If her testimony aligns with the claims made by the victims, it could change the entire trajectory of the case and lead to a dramatic shift in the legal proceedings. Jay-Z's legal battle, the complexities and allegations. Despite the growing scrutiny, one key issue surrounding Jay-Z's case is his lack of a similar history of allegations when compared to his longtime associate Diddy. While Diddy has faced multiple accusations over the years, Jay-Z's record does not have the same weight of such claims. This stark contrast could heavily influence how the case is perceived, both by the public and the courts. Despite these credibility concerns, the situation remains far from resolution. A source identified as Big Homie CC claims that the victims involved should brace themselves for the possibility that Jay-Z may not back down without a fight. Those close to the situation reportedly consider him to be a very dangerous individual, and if he feels threatened by the legal battle, he could take aggressive actions in response. Amid these developments, Jaguar Wright has continued to speak out about her personal experiences and observations. In one instance, she described an encounter where a woman was denied entry to a club by individuals loyal to those Wright was speaking out against. The woman refused to back down, and tensions escalated to the point where the police had to be called. This story adds another layer of complexity to the case, as the people involved in the altercation could potentially have ties to the ongoing legal matters. Wright's remarks serve as a cautionary tale for others involved, urging them to be careful as the case moves forward. Tony Buzbee, the attorney representing the victims, has spoken at length about the nature of the case. He revealed that his firm has over 250 victims prepared to come forward with verified reports of abuse. In addition to these accounts, there are also police reports from the time of the incidents, further strengthening the case. Buzbee is adamant that they will proceed carefully, conducting thorough due diligence before filing lawsuits. This process is crucial, he argues, as naming individuals in a lawsuit often brings unwanted public attention, which the victims and their legal team want to avoid unless absolutely necessary. The stakes are high, and one key aspect of the case lies in whether Jay-Z can prove his innocence, particularly in light of tapes that were allegedly found at Diddy's mansion. If these tapes implicate him, the situation could take a drastic turn. Buzbee, in his statements, has made it clear that they intend to name individuals in these lawsuits, but only after ensuring that they have all the necessary facts and evidence in place. It's a delicate situation, with victims, attorneys, and even the media closely watching every move made. The claims against Jay-Z have grown even more troubling in recent times, with additional incidents coming to light. One particularly shocking allegation involves a minor who claims that Sean Combs, or Diddy, told them that they would be made a star, under the condition that they meet him privately, away from their parents. Once in the private area, it's alleged that Diddy made the victim perform inappropriate acts. This kind of manipulation is deeply concerning, and the claims made by this victim add weight to the larger narrative surrounding Jay-Z and his associates. Additionally, more victims have expressed their willingness to come forward, and Tony Buzbee has confirmed that additional lawsuits will be filed. Some of these individuals have already provided verified reports, which will play a crucial role in the unfolding legal battle. The potential for more disturbing revelations to come out is high, and with the involvement of over 250 victims, the magnitude of this case continues to grow. Buzbee has warned that some of the names involved in the lawsuits may raise eyebrows, and the legal team is prepared for the media attention that will inevitably follow. As the case progresses, many questions remain unanswered, but one thing is certain. Jay-Z's legal challenges are far from over, and the consequences could be dire if the evidence continues to accumulate. Attorney Tony Buzbee, representing several victims, has indicated that he will be pursuing further legal actions and naming individuals in lawsuits, although he stresses the importance of thorough verification. According to Buzbee, more than 250 victims are ready to step forward, some with supporting police reports from the time of the incidents.
Shit, let's see what Long Crime got to say, man.
Jay-Z is once again fighting back against attorney Tony Buzbee, who represented a woman that accused the rapper of rape, only for that lawsuit to be dismissed. Well, now Jay-Z is continuing his own lawsuit against Tony Buzbee and is fighting the lawyer's attempt to get this case thrown out. We have a new major filing that we're going to talk about, and a declaration, a sworn statement from Jay-Z himself. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber.
What the fuck? It got dismissed and then he put a lawsuit?
So another line in the sand has been drawn between Jay-Z and his current arch nemesis Tony Buzbee, the Texas lawyer who represented a woman that up until just last week had been suing the rapper and Sean Combs for allegedly sexually assaulting her back in 2000 at a VMA's after party in New York when she was just 13 years old. I said up until recently because Buzbee just voluntarily dismissed that case last week. Not entirely clear the reasoning, but what is clear is Jay-Z and his legal team, they were pushing back on a number of her claims, particularly after an investigation from NBC uncovered potential holes in her story, from her father saying he doesn't recall picking her up after this alleged attack, to perhaps issues with her recall regarding the presence of a jumbotron outside of the Radio City Music Hall, where she says she was picked up and then taken to this party where she was abused, or the fact that there might have been issues with her recollection about talking to Benji Madden at this after party. So again, a lot of issues in her story.
Yeah, her shit was not making sense.
That's the reason that this case was ultimately dismissed, or maybe, as I said before in a prior sidebar, maybe she didn't want to be part of this litigation anymore. Maybe she didn't want to go through it, having a spotlight on her claims. Whatever the case may be, this case was dismissed. And because of those apparent inconsistencies or issues, Jay-Z and his team, they petitioned the court to sanction Tony Buzbee for essentially starting a litigation without what they claim fully doing the proper due diligence into her claims. And now this leads me into what I want to talk about today. The fact that Jay-Z has separately filed a lawsuit against Tony Buzbee and his firm. They're suing for defamation, extortion, intentional infliction of emotional distress, essentially arguing that Buzbee made false allegations against him that hurt his reputation and business.
I got something to say. I got the feeling.
Welcome to what we call.
And that he initially tried to blackmail the rapper into paying up for Jane Doe's claims. This is a lawsuit we've talked about.
Oh, you can't trust these motherfuckers, man.
Essential
allegations. You can't be capping.
What do we want to talk about here? Well, something that we haven't talked about yet. Before that dismissal from last week, Jay-Z filed a very important.
Oh, he's looking for revenge. Get back.
Maybe was possibly strengthened by the dismissal of Jane Doe's lawsuit. This is a response. Actually, it's more of an opposition to Tony Buzbee's attempt to dismiss this lawsuit. You see, Tony Buzbee had essentially tried to dismiss this lawsuit against him and his firm through California's anti-SLAPP law. What's that? Anti-strategic lawsuits against public participation. So under the law, certain lawsuits can be dismissed if they are just an attempt to chill someone's First Amendment right to free speech. In other words, there shouldn't be lawsuits where the main intention is to silence criticism, right? Makes sense. That's what Jay-Z claims Tony Buzbee was going for here, trying to get the rapper's suit against him tossed on anti-SLAPP grounds, okay? Now, Sean Carter, Jay-Z, argued in his opposition, that doesn't work here, doesn't apply. Quote, plaintiff Sean Carter has filed well-pleaded claims against defendants Anthony Buzbee and the Buzbee law firm for civil extortion, defamation, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The amended complaint alleges, and there is no dispute, that right after Sean Combs was charged with drugging and raping men, women, and children who attended his parties, Buzbee launched a nationwide publicity campaign to attract Combs' victims as his clients. Buzbee claimed that other high-profile entertainers had participated in Combs' criminal acts and threatened to expose and pursue criminal proceedings against them. Now, this is referring, of course, to the fact that Tony Buzbee held an infamous press conference announcing his plans
I'm telling y'all, motherfuckers, man,
on behalf of multiple
they'll be pushing out their ass,
accusers, which he has done. And Combs, of course, is subject to a myriad of sexual assault lawsuits, currently locked up in federal detention, awaiting trial on criminal charges of racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitution, sex trafficking. Everybody, this is another law and crime lethal alert. The Los Angeles wildfires, they are still letters to Mr. Carter on behalf of two individuals who claim that Mr. Carter had participated in Combs' criminal enterprise. Buzbee threatened to publicly pursue Mr. Carter if he did not agree to provide, quote, something of substance to compensate his client.
He was trying to get the money back.
That is the extortion claim that we're going to get into.
He was trying to get the money on grab.
The key issue raised by Buzbee's motion is whether he can wrap himself in California's litigation privilege by claiming that his public and private threats to Mr. Carter were lawful acts in aid of potential litigation. He cannot. Now, litigation privilege, generally speaking, is the concept that you can't sue lawyers for statements they make in connection with litigation. I mean, if you think about it, if there wasn't that protection, then there would be really no lawsuits, right? Any defendant in a lawsuit would turn around and sue opposing counsel. Of course, the other side doesn't agree with allegations. They say they're false. That's every lawsuit. That's the point of a lawsuit. One side makes claims, the other denies it, and you fight it out in court. You can't be liable for statements that you make in connection with the case. Otherwise, again, it would chill litigation. However, According to Jay-Z and his legal team, this is different. Quote, where Buzbee crossed the line, and what sets this case apart from most pre-litigation threats, is that he not only threatened civil litigation against Mr. Carter if he did not pay his clients, but criminal proceedings and a public spectacle as well. That renders his conduct extortion as a matter of law and bars him from invoking the anti-SLAPP statute. Buzbee's defense is that he threatened criminal proceedings only in the public statements and didn't repeat them in his demand letters to Mr. Carter. But the law draws no such distinction. Buzbee's statements must be taken in their entirety, and his demand letters to Mr. Carter must be read in context. To hold otherwise would reward clever extortionists. So, now let's expand on all this. Jay-Z argues that Buzbee laid the groundwork for his alleged extortion by going public and saying that his firm represents over 120 people who claim they abuse Combs, and that, quote,
just like
many other
Golden State. How you
individuals will be implicated, that he would allow his clients to work with authorities, including the FBI, and then he starts representing Jane Doe in her case against him and Combs, and simultaneously Jay-Z claims that Buzbee is making these public statements that, the Combs indictment will grow, and that those close to Combs should be prosecuted and put underneath the jail, and those kinds of comment. And that's what he's alleging sets the groundwork for his extortion claim. And then he goes in, more specifically, into the alleged extortion, where he claims that Tony Buzbee and his firm sent him demand letters before he was named in Jane Doe's lawsuit, before he was revealed as Celebrity A. Quote, on November 5th, defendants privately sent the extortion demands to Mr. Carter on behalf of two clients, Jane Doe and John Doe. The letters accused him of raping both individuals when they were minors. Buzbee warned that the only way to avoid a public spectacle was for Mr. Carter to provide his clients something of substance in settlement. Buzbee also threatened to pursue Mr. Carter for supposed crimes that Buzbee had not even identified on behalf of persons he did not represent, saying, quote, it has been my experience that when someone does this to a victim once, the likelihood is they have done the same or similar things to others. Buzbee's accusations are categorically false, but the extortion demands, combined with Buzbee's prior public threats, sent a clear message to Mr. Carter: pay up or face criminal charges and public condemnation. Jay-Z claims that instead of
for the ones keeping business in gear and always moving
demands, he filed his lawsuit on November 18th against Tony Buzbee. Actually, I'll tell you, he filed it anonymously at first, and then that's when Buzbee named Jay-Z in Jane Doe's complaint. By the way, you heard about John Doe so far? Never been a lawsuit filed by Tony Buzbee by a John Doe against Jay-Z regarding sexual assault. That comes up later. We'll talk about it. But he adds in this filing, Jay-Z, quote, on December 10th, Buzbee went even further in a statement to TMZ. Buzbee said he's not ruling out filing rape charges with New York authorities. Buzbee also said that Jay-Z's rape accuser might take the music mogul's advice and file a criminal complaint against him after slapping him with a civil suit. And then, of course, we know about the NBC reporting that seemed to cast some discrepancies in Jane Doe's account, and then, of course, the case was dismissed. So that's the backstory of it all.
Damn.
Now we're going to get into the law about whether or not Tony Buzbee is, in fact, protected by California's anti-SLAPP law. Let me rephrase that. Whether or not, according to Jay-Z and his legal team, Tony Buzbee is protected. And according to this filing, it is a two-step process. First, it has to be established that what Buzbee is being sued for, or what he's being sued in connection with, the statements, are protected activity. That's the first step. The second step is that Jay-Z would have to show the court that if you take the facts as true, he would win this case. So let's start with step one, where Jay-Z claims that Buzbee and his firm can't meet that burden, that there is no protected activity here. Quote, their threats to publicly accuse Mr. Carter of being a child rapist, coupled with their public threats of criminal prosecution, constitute extortion, which is unprotected speech. Extortionate threats dressed up as pre-litigation demand letters are undeserving of the protection of the anti-SLAPP statute. Actually, they define what extortion is in the criminal code. Extortion is the act of obtaining money or property from another through the wrongful use of force or fear. And Jay-Z argues that Buzbee's statements leading up to the demand letters, things like the day will come when we will name names other than Sean Combs, and where he warned that his clients would speak to the FBI because they have some very important things to say, and that under the jail comment I mentioned before, all that sets the context of this alleged extortion. And Jay-Z claims that Buzbee's subsequent demand letters are a clear form of extortion. Quote, in the context of Buzbee's public threats to refer his targets to law enforcement and his private threats to hunt for other criminal acts involving parties unrelated to his clients, told Mr. Carter that he should fear a criminal prosecution. Buzbee continued his public criminal threats, promising to encourage all of his clients to speak to the authorities. These were threats to publicly accuse of rape and to disclose criminal activity against victims who were not even Buzbee's clients.
They saw them that beat, they want all
substantial sums. That is extortion and beyond the pale of permissible pre-litigation conduct. And Jay-Z cites case law in support of that, specifically one California case where he explains how a lawyer, in this case, was sued for extortion because of a demand letter that the lawyer apparently sent to the plaintiff on behalf of a woman who claimed that the plaintiff had raped her. And the court said that this was extortion because the lawyer warned that unless plaintiff settles, he would expose information to the IRS and other authorities, that he would uncover additional causes of action against the plaintiff once the lawsuit was filed, and expose information to the media worldwide and expose any violation by plaintiff to the appropriate authorities. And then also that the lawyer threatened to accuse the plaintiff of raping this woman unless the plaintiff paid for her silence. And Jay-Z's legal team argues that that case is exactly the same thing here, that, quote, Buzbee did the same. Now, apparently Buzbee cited cases to defend himself in a prior filing, but Jay-Z's legal team says those cases don't apply here because in one case, the lawyer didn't threaten to put the lawyer's target to authorities, and in another case, the lawyer simply suggested that his client would aggressively defend himself in litigation, and that's very different with what Buzbee is being accused of now. And what Buzbee, though I will say, may suggest, and how he may defend himself, is by arguing, look, I never directly threatened to go to law enforcement unless you pay. It wasn't as explicit and clear as maybe that other case. Wonder if that's an argument that will be advanced or has been advanced. But from there, we move on to the next point. From there, we move on to the litigation privilege argument, which I mentioned before. So Jay-Z's legal counsel writes that in order to determine if a pre-litigation or demand letter is protected under the anti-SLAPP, free speech law, you have to see whether it was made in good faith contemplation of imminent litigation, rather than just some nebulous, hollow threat of litigation. There has to be imminent litigation that's coming up, and that's why you made this demand letter. There is a difference there. Here, Jay-Z argues Buzbee and his firm, they can't prove that this was done in a good faith pursuit of real imminent litigation. Why? They argue that Buzbee's declaration that he made under penalty of perjury, his own statement, my firm and two of our clients were prepared to assert civil claims against Carter. The letters were sent in serious good faith anticipation of litigation. Jay-Z says that declaration, that statement, that is self-serving. It's not enough. Also, Jay-Z says that Buzbee and his firm, they haven't shown that they were contemplating imminent litigation. Quote, defendants sent the John Doe extortion demand 3 months ago, but they never sued on his behalf. Their inaction exposes that letter for what it is, a hollow threat of litigation. So far, this was all about the first step in the anti-SLAPP analysis, right, to see whether or not Tony Buzbee has some sort of protection. Again, trying to show that Buzbee and his firm
trying to see if he can really sue this
not
nigga.
Protected because Jay-Z claims
Buzbee,
this is all
you white
extortion.
motherfucker,
Now
you
we
tripping.
move on to step 2. So not only was that conduct
You gotta be out of millions,
not protected, but now Jay-Z claims he can show he will prevail on the merits, the substance of this case. Again, if he can show that anti-SLAPP doesn't apply and that he's going to win, this case shouldn't be dismissed. So how does he argue that he's going to win on the actual merits of his claims? Well, first, Jay-Z lays out the standard. Quote, a court may grant an anti-SLAPP motion based on the litigation privilege only if the defendant defeats defendant's evidence as a matter of law. And here, Jay-Z claims the defendants cannot meet that burden. As established above, defendants failed to make even a prima facie showing that the John Doe extortion demand was a good faith pre-litigation demand. Courts routinely deny anti-SLAPP motions, whereas here, the defendant fails to show that the litigation privilege applies as a matter of law. Then Jay-Z goes through each of his causes of action, and he says, I'm going to win them. So first, Jay-Z argues, I'll prevail on my extortion claim that, quote, defendants committed extortion as a matter of law Quote, defendants argue that Mr. Carter's claim fails because he didn't lose any property. That is, he stood up to the extortion. And he can't allege the elements of fraud, meaning the threats were false. But Jay-Z claims that's not the law. According to Jay-Z and his legal counsel, you don't need to actually transfer property to prove extortion. It's the threat with intent to extort money that's key.
So as long as that nigga was trying to say, hey, you owe me this amount,
and he also argues that it's not required that Buzbee's threats be false. That is why he says his extortion claim is going to be successful. Then he talks about the defamation claim, and he says he will be successful there as well. Now, defamation is a false statement about someone that was made to another that damages that person's reputation or harms them. And when you're dealing with public figures like a celebrity, you need to show actual malice, that the statement was made knowing it wasn't true, or it was made with reckless disregard for the truth, that you didn't even do the proper due diligence, even research, to make sure
he did it. He just threw it on
first,
stand.
There seems to be some
he didn't know what the hell the shit he was talking
about. Made by Tony Buzbee were even about Jay-Z or, quote, of and concerning Jay-Z. But Jay-Z claims that Buzbee and his firm, they don't dispute that certain statements qualify, that they're about him, but they argue that other statements made in October and November do not reference Jay-Z. Now, I was looking at this. It seems that what they're referring to is October statements from Buzbee seem to be October 1st press conference where he allegedly said that he vowed to, quote, find the silent accomplices and expose the enablers, and that he intended to make available to the authorities, specifically to the FBI. October 2nd, on a podcast, Tony Buzbee allegedly pledged to ferret out all the people involved, facilitated Combs' misconduct, and to hold them accountable in civil and criminal cases. October 7th, on the Sean Atwood podcast, he allegedly stated that there are going to be some people named in these cases that are going to raise some eyebrows.
So they say they got somebody who people gonna know.
Buzbee allegedly stated that those who attended Combs' parties are just as guilty. Again, I believe those are the statements, or the statements that are likely being referred to by Jay-Z. But he argues that despite Buzbee saying that his past comments are not about Jay-Z, Jay-Z says that's not true. That's wrong. Jay-Z's counsel writes that it's really up to a jury or a judge to determine whether
Jay-Z going all
is
out
about Jay-Z or not.
He don't give no fucks.
Buzbee to decide.
He's like, all this is a bunch of my shit, nigga. I'm gonna take your bank, nigga.
And that is when we get our mention of none other than Bill Cosby. Yeah, the comedian, entertainer who was convicted and then released from prison for drugging and sexually assaulting a woman. Well, in the filing, it references one of the many women who accused Bill Cosby of sexual misconduct. And it reads, Dickinson was one of many women who publicly accused Bill Cosby of sexual misconduct. She sued for defamation based on Cosby's statements, some of which mentioned her by name, some of which did not. The court held that the latter statements were nonetheless actionable. These statements referred to members of a reasonably ascertainable group of women who had recently accused Cosby of sexual misconduct, of which Dickinson was a known member. Given Buzbee's extensive media crusade, his defamatory statements were reasonably understood by his audience to refer to Mr. Carter. Mr. Carter is one of only two people who Buzbee had publicly accused of rape. And on November 19th, Buzbee confirmed that his public statements had referred to Mr. Carter.
In the same thing with Jay-Z? She wanted. That's the same bitch.
As Celebrity A in Jane Doe's complaint. On December 10th, Buzbee publicly accused Mr. Carter of rape by name. It is no defense that Buzbee's statements identifying Mr. Carter were made subsequent to those that do not identify him. Next, Jay-Z's legal team argues that the false statements are defamatory per se, meaning on their face they are so bad you can see how harmful they would be to somebody's reputation. Quote, defendants' false statements are defamatory per se because they accuse Mr. Carter of committing crimes of moral turpitude. Such accusations are defamatory on their face as they expose Mr. Carter to public hatred, contempt, ridicule, and disgrace. Statements that falsely impute criminal conduct are defamation per se. From there, Jay-Z responds to Buzbee's argument that the statements are not defamatory because they're just opinions. Well, Jay-Z responds to that, and he basically makes the argument, if you're making a statement that makes an assertion of fact that can be proven false, it's not an opinion. Quote, Buzbee asserted that Mr. Carter facilitated sexual misconduct, should be prosecuted and put underneath the jail, is among the people on a long list of names who are going to be named in these cases, alleging sexual misconduct and committed sexual assault. These are not opinions because they can be proven true or false. In other words, these are not opinions because they can be proven true or false. Meaning, these are statements that declare or imply that Jay-Z committed a crime. This, according to Jay-Z, is actionable defamation. And also, by the way, Jay-Z denies these claims, says they are false in a declaration, which we'll get to and highlight in a moment. But the reporting from NBC News, by the way, on Jay Doe's claims, again, this is before this case was dismissed too. They highlight the NBC reporting as to why this is all not true. But finally,
so
with respect to proving actual malice as part of defamation, Jay-Z highlights the deficiencies in Jane Doe's accusations that Buzbee allegedly relied on another law firm to first vet the claims, that he never even met with Jane Doe before signing his name to the complaint. That's the allegation. Quote, Buzbee's conduct demonstrates willful blindness and a reckless disregard for the falsity of the accusation. So Jay-Z says he will win on the defamation claim too. And then from there...
I'll be back. So yeah, so Jay-Z is now suing Buzbee for him lying. It just goes to show you, man, that if your whole mind frame is trying to get some money on over the truth, you're going to fail every time. Even if you win, you're going to fail because people understand that you're lying. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Jay-Z is the most goodest person in the world. Fuck no. I don't know Jay-Z. But I'm just saying, when shit sound like bullshit, shit sound like bullshit. That whole shit sound like bullshit. She was lying the whole damn time. She switched up her story like 3, 4, 5 times. And the people seen that shit. That's why they dropped the case. Like, nigga, you can't make up no fucking case like this against a billionaire and leave this many motherfucking holes in your fucking case. That like it's not gonna happen. She left all these motherfucking holes in her lawsuit. And he's a billionaire. You know he got all the money out to spend in the world for lawyers. That's the difference between him and Diddy. Jay-Z stood on 10. He gave no fucks. He's like, man, I ain't finna lose this shit for nothing. Beyonce, my kids, none of this shit for no fake ass shit. Fuck all that shit. You know what I'm saying? And now she looking like a fucking fool. Buzbee looking like a fucking idiot. Because, like, nigga, y'all made up a whole fucking claim over on an innocent black man that he didn't even have no part of doing. And, like, if y'all would have got him on some other bullshit, we probably okay. But we knew, like, when I heard this story, man, it sounded like some bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And with everything like the fall of Diddy going on, I don't know if y'all seen that TV show, we watching it in jail, the fall of Diddy. Bruh, we gotta understand that it's a whole fucking scheme to get black people out the paint. I ain't saying that half these niggas didn't do half the shit they did. But at the same time, I feel like it's a whole fucking scheme to get all these niggas down out the paint so they can, you know what I'm saying? But I'm happy for Diddy, for Jay-Z, because he's still on his 10. Like, it's certain things I don't agree with Jay-Z, and it just is what it is. Like, we probably ain't gonna never agree. But him standing on 10 right now shows, like, these motherfuckers gonna make up all these lies to make you look bad, and then when you put some pressure or some heat towards the situation, their whole story done switched up. They a whole new character. Nah, bitch, keep that same energy when you was slandering my name, trying to make me blackmail me and all this goofy ass shit. Now you want to switch it up since the nigga done got the facts straight now. Now motherfuckers want to change their mind. You know what I'm saying? So it just man, money on can make people do crazy things, man. Especially this motherfucking bitch she just made up shit. She literally just made up shit out her motherfucking asshole. And this Buzbee stupid as hell. Why you didn't back check? He didn't back check it. He didn't want to go check to see if anything she was saying was true. He didn't even go check to see if her dad was knew anything. Her dad was with Jay-Z, was saying that Jay-Z was right. Like, come on, man. This glory was horrible. He not no motherfucking Bryant still. So who knows what's gonna happen with Diddy shit? Cause Diddy done got like over 300 witnesses, probably more, about people saying that whoop de whoop. But we ain't saying that Jay-Z is off the hook because Jaguar Wright said some things that, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, we just saying that a lot of them didn't make sense with this situation. It was just stupid, man. But yeah, man. Hey, Jay-Z beat the case, man. So now he finna get him a lawsuit. Hey, we out this bitch hood, Northside. Big grip in the gang, Northside shit.
Hey, Dad, you know dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. Even though this is instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.